Hi everybody, Xana Reaper Shadow here to present a little bit of information about the Norinco SKS 30 caliber carbine rifle. Now, the Norinco model, the information that I read for it, the construction started in 1956. Now, it fires 7.62 by 39 millimeter ammunition, basically a 308 short round. I will be showing you some of the features of my particular model, as well as sharing information. So, here we go. Okay. Now, as you can see, it has the same sight system as the AK-47, which is pretty common amongst this particular model type or weapon type. It has a bayonet with a spring-loaded latch. Hold down, fold it out, and it'll lock over the muzzle of the barrel, like so. Now, to fold it back, pull, it'll swivel down, and there's a notch for it that's cut into the wood stock on the foregrip. Push that down. This model came with a sling for easy carrying, and one feature that is not very common to find nowadays is if you look in the shoulder stock of the weapon, you'll see this little hatch. Push in all the way, pull your finger out, and there's a little utility capsule in the stock of the gun that contains an extra firing pin and a cleaning tool. Now, as I said, it's not very common, but the best way to find such a capsule inside this weapon, the best way is to find it greased, which would indicate that it has never been used. Now, the recoil on this weapon isn't very high. Makes a decent bang. It's a 30 caliber weapon, as I mentioned before, but now that I've actually got the capsule out of the stock, this is the closed capsule. Twist, pull off, and you've got your spare firing pin, and the rest is your cleaning tool. Put that back in there, and put it back in the weapon. Now, being that this is a carbine instead of your standard rifle, it's not made for long distance shots, so your optimal range for effective accuracy will be short to medium range. Now, as you can see, you got your bolt here. I've loaded a shell that I've already fired off into the chamber to test the ejector. The ejector works fine. Now, as I'm about to show you, the bolt comes back and locks when the magazine is empty. You can reload a few different ways. You can load it shell by shell, one at a time. You can use a strip loader, which basically you load the rear end of the bullets into the slot on the strip loader, align it push the rounds in, remove the strip, pull back on the bolt, and it'll chamber the next round. Then you also have the option of opening the magazine. Has a little release lever here, spring loaded, convenient. Open it up, load your shells, then close it and lock it, and resume your firing. Now, as you can see, this particular Norinco SKS is in decent condition. I have seen these guns go for as much as $350. That's actually the price that I paid for this one. Not a bad price for a good weapon. I've fired it quite a few times and have had no troubles with it. Now, it's a gas piston operated weapon. You got your gas valve release here, adjustable rear sight. Let's see. You got a trigger guard behind the trigger. A trigger guard would also be known as the safety. And you've got your trigger. I do not recommend dry firing it. It could cause damage to your firing pin. You got your standard sling mount on the rear end of the weapon and on the front for the weapon classification and design. All in all, pretty good gun, reliable. I haven't cleaned it yet or lubricated it. It hasn't let me down yet. And all in all, I'd recommend it as a first gun. Hell, it was my first gun, so that's that. Now for field stripping. You've got your receiver release here. Lift that up to 90 degrees perpendicular with the weapon, and you're going to want to pull on it until you hear this. That means that your receiver has been released. You're going to remove the receiver, then you're going to remove your bolt, which also contains your firing head, your firing pin and ejector. It's also called the bolt head in a lot of different guns. Then you've got a basic field strip. Now, I haven't exactly got the materials for complete disassembly yet, but I am working on that. And as soon as I have that, I will post a video. It's most likely going to take me a long time to get said information. Now, to put the bolt and bolt head back into place, there's two notches on the bolt and on the bolt head. Fits together like the gears of a clock. Then you take your gun, very carefully inserting it, then slide it forward all the way. Slide your bolt forward. Then you're going to want to put your receiver back into place. If your receiver is not moving in the proper position, you're going to want to check your receiver release lever here at the back of the gun on the right hand side. If it is not 90 degrees and pulled out, your receiver will not move forward. It's important to make sure that that happens. Once you've got the receiver in place, you're going to want to push up on the receiver with your thumb, push the release lever in, and then lock it into place. Pretty simple. Wouldn't you think so? If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Until next time, das vidanya, my friends. Xarian Shadow out. Greetings, my friends, and welcome back. Today I will be showing you how to dismantle an SKS for cleaning, repairs, the basics. Now the only tools that you will need is a screwdriver or a pin punch. The most effective tool to use is a screwdriver. Now, first thing you're going to want to do is to make sure that the loading chamber is empty, and it is. Then, if yours has a sling, you're going to want to take it off because you'll be separating the barrel assembly from the shoulder stock. And the sling removed. Now, let me remove the trigger lock so that I can do this efficiently. Another thing you want to make sure to do is to turn on the safety. Now, you're going to want to pull the receiver holding pin, remove the upper rear receiver, recoil guide spring, and the bolt, which contains the firing block. Then you have that gone. Then, going to want to lift the gas piston tube latch to where the little notch on the inside is straight vertical, then lift, remove. Then where the lever is vertical, and remove the operating rod. Then if yours has a bayonet, you're going to want to extend it. Otherwise it's going to get caught. Now, with the safety on, there's a little notch here behind the trigger. Don't know if you can see that. It's right there. You're going to want to take your screwdriver and press it in until it releases. It takes a significant amount of force. Then remove your trigger and hammer mechanism and the magazine. Then you're going to want to take the screwdriver, insert it into the frame of the gun, just in front of that notch, and use a significant amount of force to pop out the barrel assembly. You've got your barrel assembly, and you're stuck. Now, something that I do not recommend is what I'm about to show you. I'm going to put all of the mechanisms back into place onto the barrel assembly. I do not recommend that you do this. Well, I don't recommend that you fire it like this. It could be very dangerous. Let's see. The bolt. Coil guide in place. Upper rear receiver. And pin. Magazine assembly. Trigger assembly. Operating rod. And gas piston. This is basically all that the gun consists of as far as the firing mechanisms. Not very much, but still effective. Now to take it all apart and reassemble the entire rifle. Trigger assembly, magazine assembly, gas piston assembly, operating rod, receiver, bolt, and recoil guide. Then you're back to this. Now, to reassemble, you take your stock, you align the parts to where they will fit in, give it a firm tap, then insert the magazine assembly and the trigger assembly. Then you've got that. Then you take your operating rod, push it back into place, keyword being push. If you don't have enough force behind it, your finger will slip and the operating rod will fly. And take the gas piston tube, the upper hand guard, slide them back into place and lock it. Then you take the bolt and firing block, fit them together, insert, slide into place, then your recoil guide and upper rear receiver. Putting the sling back on is optional, but I just dismantled and reassembled my SKS to my highest level of comfort at the moment, and there you have it. This is Santa Reaper Shadow, no wrinkle, SKS 30 cal.